Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome to the Voiceover Huddle. This is what we do every single weekday morning where we jump on here and just give you a little nugget about something in the voiceover industry to kind of help you and your business move forward. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time professional voiceover talent. Been doing this for several decades now, and that's what we're here to do. So feel free to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And also don't forget to chime in on the chat so I can do some shout outs here in a minute on where you're listening from or watching from. Today, oh boy, today I want to talk about your website. Your website is, I cannot overstate how important your website is in this business. Your website is the end road or the end destination of all your marketing efforts. That is, if you do have professional demos. I want to clarify that. You've heard me talk about that quite a bit. You only need a website if you have pro demos to go and market. But if you do, even just one, your website, all roads lead to your website in your marketing. I don't care if it's direct email marketing, social media marketing, even face-to-face marketing. Remember a while back we talked about business cards and stuff like that? All marketing should point back to your website. So today I want to talk about a few things about your website, some kind of do's and don'ts. Okay. The first thing I'll mention about your website, as far as it's going to be things that are nice to have and things that you need to have. Let's start with need to have. So the thing that you need to have, or the two things you need to have in your website, are your demo or demos, whether it be audio or preferably video, and your contact information. Period. That's it. If that's the only two things you have on your website, that's fine. Okay, that's the need to have stuff. What you can offer them, how they can contact you. Period. Okay, that's need to have. Now, there's plenty of other things that are nice to have. You can have a cool logo. You could, have, you know, logos of brands that you've worked for. You can have, an about you section or list your equipment and, all that kind of stuff. That's all nice to have. And feel free to add that stuff because it just, lets people learn more about you. But as far as the need to have stuff, demos, contact info. Okay. Now, I mentioned yesterday why having social media platforms are important for your website. And that is so that on your website, you can have links to those social media platforms that are going to help in your SEO because you're connected to those big major platforms from your website. It'll give your website a bit more legitimacy that you've got those connections. Two ways, by the way. I was in a one-on-one coaching session, marketing session yesterday, and we talked about how it's a two-way street. You've got your social media platforms should also direct people to your website, and your website should direct people to your social media platforms. When you have that two-way street, your SEO is better because it actually just shows that you're a more legit website. Okay, so yeah, the website is everything. In fact, when you're doing direct marketing, instead of attaching demos to your email, don't ever attach an MP3 to your marketing email. That's just a good way to go straight to the trash or to the spam folder. People are a little sketchy about attachments on their emails. So if you put a link to your website in the body of your email, that's so much better because not only will they not have to worry about attachments, but they go to your website, they're going to learn a whole lot more about you than just listening to an MP3. They're going to be able to, see all the stuff that you've got on your website and learn more about you as a result. So yeah, your website, like I said, it is king when it comes to doing your marketing. You can either build one yourself using, a site builder like the GoDaddy site builder or Wix or any of the other, plans out there. You can have someone build it for you and then you need to have a place to host it, so you need to find a web host. But yeah, your website, 100%, everything. It's all about the website. So we're talking about social media, websites, and then tomorrow I'm going to talk about CRMs. The reason why is that we've got this class that I did, and I mentioned it yesterday too, where we're bundling how to use social media, how to build your website, and how to use a CRM all in one kind of bundle classes. And it is now available. So if you have questions about that, click that link below. There's also a coupon code that you can use to get $102 off the class, and that is social 102. If you want to get that discount, social 102, you'll get $102 off. Anyway, that's the class. I go way deeper into not only website stuff, but also, like I said, CRM, how to use social media, especially LinkedIn as your main, marketing arm for social media. So that's all in the description. All right, let's check in and see who's here today. Oh, there's Mark, first in from Montreal. And there's Corey from Wisconsin. There's Callie from Pasco, Washington. There's Becky from Michigan and Nephi from Knoxville. By the way, Nephi, I wore my volunteers sweatshirt yesterday for you, and you didn't even show up. Ethan from Toronto. Happy Hump Day. David from Ontario. Terry says, welcome to Wednesday from Fallston, Maryland. And there's Emmy Dahl from Phoenix. Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. There's Kirk from Greenville and Andrew from Latvia, morning or evening. DeCarlo says, happy Wednesday from Las Vegas. Smash that like button and subscribe. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. There's Sean from Longview, Wayne from Port Orchard, and Cliff from Delaware. Andrew says, do people still use business cards? Yes, I did a whole episode on business cards. When was that? I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So go back in the history here and look at it. I did a whole episode on business cards and why, yes, people still use them. I still use them. Thomas says, hello from Santa Rosa. Sarah from Nashville. Bruce from Port Richey, Florida. Joy from Southfield, Michigan. I don't have any professional demos yet, but I do have an organized portfolio. Okay. If you do, that's great. Just make sure that before you do any actual direct marketing that you do have some pro demos. If you've got some, DIY stuff or even previous jobs and stuff that you've done, that's fine. But at that point, you're still kind of at that minor league level as far as, where you can go find work. So that would be things like Fiverr and Upwork and those kinds of things. But until you actually get pro quality demos up there, you should probably not worry about doing direct marketing. Remember, you want to put your best foot forward and make that great first impression. There's John from Denver. Andrew says WordPress is a good option. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you know WordPress, that's how my site was built. It was built with WordPress. I had someone build it for me, but then I have it hosted with upper level hosting. But yes, WordPress is definitely a good option for your website as well. There's Alex from Utah. There's Bob from Wadsworth, Ohio. There's Troy from Pickering, Ontario. Kathleen from Evanston. Wally says, catching you live tonight. I don't know if you're catching me live tonight, unless you're somewhere where it's nighttime, because I'm not going to be doing anything tonight other than probably watching some TV. So I don't know what you mean by catching me live. Harold says, what about calling on businesses just to drop off a business card? I mean, that takes a lot more time, but if that's what you want to do, do it. I mean, it all works, Here's the thing, and a lot of people get this confused. most businesses let me see if I figure out how to put this. Most businesses aren't gonna be the ones who hire you directly for voiceover. I know that probably is confusing sounding, so let me clarify. Most businesses hire a firm, a video production house to do their whatever it is for them. Their commercial, their, you know, explainer video, whatever it is. They'll hire a professional firm to do that for them. So they're not gonna be the one that's directly hiring you. The only exception to that I can think of is maybe if they are needing a new IVR, then they would probably hire the person directly. But most of the time, you're gonna be dealing not with the end client, but with the middleman who is the one who's creating the content. So, going around to businesses and saying, "Hey, do you need a voiceover? Here's my card." That's gonna be that's gonna be a long, hard road to find someone to actually hire you because they're gonna go to someone to create the video, and they are gonna be the one who hires you. So, hopefully that makes sense. And that's whether it's commercial or whatever. Um, most of the time, most of my jobs, like, for instance, when I say if you go to my website, you'll see that I've got companies I've worked on there, BMW, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, lots of big names. I didn't deal directly with that company. I didn't work directly with BMW. Now they did have a say in who the person chose who created the video. So they did choose me, but I dealt and invoiced the video producer. So hopefully that makes sense. But I can still say, because my voice was on a BMW thing, I can still say that I worked for BMW. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Sandra says, went to GoDaddy to set up a new website for free, then got a page where they wanted me to pay 150 to continue. Are they still free? Did I push the wrong button? Well, I haven't worked there in about a good decade, but I do know that it is free for a certain amount of time. I think it's like a week, 2 weeks that you can fully build your website for free. In fact, I did one about 2 weeks ago for free. And yes, you can fully build it for free. Now, they probably just mean in order to actually publish it on its own domain, you have to pay. You have to pay whatever their yearly or monthly charge is. Typically, with GoDaddy, you can get a better rate if you pay by the year versus by the month. You also have about 11 less chances of something happening with your site going down because of, you know, your card expiring or something like that. Little sidebar, when I used to work there, people would pay monthly and their card would expire in the middle of the year sometime, and then their site would go down because it's having to renew every single month using that card, and then that card fails, and then all of a sudden the site goes down. So if you do it year by year, then you know that once you've paid it, you've got a whole year before you have to deal with it again. So I would always do at least a year at a time, if not longer. But that just probably meant that they want you to pay to continue the site on your own domain name. When you first build a site on GoDaddy and most of the other platforms as well, they give you this temporary, really long domain name that you can kind of publish it on and see it live. But without actually connecting it to your domain name, you're gonna need to pay. Theo says, "Greeting from Chicago." Rick says, "Hi from post-blizzard St. Paul." Nephi says, "I was at my bank opening an account for my VO business. Turns out their teller moonlights for a local video production company. Glad I had a business card to have them give them my contact info." I love that, Nephi. I love it. You never ever know when you're gonna need it. And that's the best possible scenario right there. Um, just keep some cards in your wallet. Keep them in your car. You never know. If you had said, "Yeah, go to my website, Nephi Davis voiceover or whatever your website name is, you think they're gonna remember that? No. And you don't wanna look unprofessional and go, "Hey, let me just grab this scratch sheet of paper and jot it down for you." That's not professional, but when you just go and you whip out a business card, hand it to them, that's professional, and hopefully that person will reach out to you, Nephi. Tim says, "Hello from Altoona." Theo says, "Woohoo, Nephi." Yep, that's right. It's you never I'll say this until the cows come home. You never know when you're gonna run into an opportunity. All marketing, you never know. Face to face. That's why I wear those shirts, those voiceover shirts sometimes when I'm out and about because people will strike up. It's a really good conversation starter. People will just walk up to you out of the blue, go, "Are you a voiceover artist?" "Yep, sure am." "How do you get into that?" Or any kind of thing like that. So it's just a really, great opportunity. Andrew says, "Also, if they do it like a subdomain, there's no security, it might get deleted." Yeah, that's always a good that's actually a really good point as far as the security goes. There's also something, and this is something I go into in much greater detail in the class, the website class, something called an SSL certificate, and that stands for Secure Socket Layer. That's nerd speak, but it basically just means it's, protected and secure, encrypted. Your website is protected, secure, and encrypted. That's another thing, by the way, that will help your SEO because Google is prioritizing placement for websites that are encrypted. So it's just their way of kind of making sure that the internet is more secure. So an SSL certificate, which does come included with the GoDaddy builders and usually other builders as well. The SSL certificate, which is the HTTP and then S. Most sites, when you look at them, it's just HTTP colon slash slash then the domain name. This is HTTPS, and that stands for secure. Um, a lot of banks, basically any website that is concerned with privacy and protection is going to have that SSL attached. So that's something to look for. All right. Any other questions about website stuff? Website is king. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. It is the end all be all in your marketing efforts. Um, and in that class, I go into much more detail about the do's and don'ts on your website. One last thing I'll mention. A lot of people, when they build their website, in fact, I just saw one of these last week on a new client that I was coaching one-on-one. He built his website and he had his demos on page 4. Demos on page 4. Don't do it. You need your demos front and center. As soon as they land on your site, it should smack them in the face. Your demo should just boom, be right there. Additionally, you want your demos what's called above the fold. That's an old newspaper term for the way the newspaper is folded in half. All the big headlines are above the fold, right? We landed on the moon, right? They're not going to put that at the bottom of the page. You put it at the top. Of course, in a digital world, the bottom of the page, or I'm sorry, the bottom of your monitor is the fold. So you want to have everything above the fold that's important. Your demos and your contact information above the fold, not on page 4. Okay, so make sure that all just screams, "Here's who I am. Here's how you can get in touch with me," on your website. Now, if it's half and half, like if they don't have to scroll too much and click around to find your demos, that's okay. But try to put it up there right in their face when they land on your site, above the fold. Joy says, "That's so true. Wearing something as simple as a t-shirt that says I'm a voice actor is a great conversation starter." Yeah, absolutely. In fact, shameless plug here. I have a little side hustle that I did called VO Merch. Some of the people a few weeks ago were asking about it too because I was wearing some of the shirts. If you wanna go check it out, it's vomerch.com. Lots of cool voiceover related stuff, not just T-shirts, but things like, mouse pads, stuff like that. Stuff for your office, stuff for your body, T-shirts, clothing, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, check it out. Tracy says, "How about the info on who owns the website? Like who is?" Yes, okay. Okay. And I do talk about that in the class, but I'll give you a quickie here. The who is directory is, think of it as the phone book for the internet. Every domain name registered is in this who is directory. And it's basically a way that when you register a new domain name, you have to provide your ownership information, meaning your name, your phone number, your email address, your mailing address, your home address, so that everything is cataloged in this who is directory. Now, certain places, I know GoDaddy does this, I'm sure other places do as well, allow you to mask that information. So, if you don't want anybody to know who the actual owner of a certain domain name is, then you can do this privacy. It's kinda like having an unlisted phone number. Now, the information is still there for, like, government and, police purposes if they need it, but to the general public and anyone who goes to this who is directory, they will not be able to see your contact details. So that's how the who is directory works. It's usually like 10 bucks or something to make it something private, and you can privatize it so that nobody can see your contact info. So that's a good question, Tracy. Thank you. Jay says, I think I have the vital elements, demo, headshot, bio, etc., but aesthetically, it's not the best. How much does that make a difference? Well, I mean, it's always nice to have it be a pretty site, to have it be laid out well and, cool color patterns and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker as long as you do have your demo, I don't think you need a headshot, but if you want to put one on there, great. Um, bio and all that, that's totally fine. I mean, if if you want to have someone do give it a look see to see if they can improve it as far as aesthetics goes, then do that. But I wouldn't say that's a deal breaker as long as they can hear you and know how to hire you. Those are the two biggest things on a website. Hear you and know how to get in touch with you to hire you. Period. But a nice looking website always is nice. So, all right, guys. So today I've got several jobs lined up, but I'm also finishing up the audio book for my own book, which I will mention tomorrow in more detail. I finished the book. It's up on Amazon. I haven't promoted it yet because I'm still working on the audio version, but I'm going to get into a lot of that today. So maybe tomorrow I'll show you what I got. All right, guys. Link in description below if you want to check out that social media /website /CRM class. Use the social 102 code 102 social 102 code to get $102 off. And there you go. Oh, here's another question. Edwin says, when is the best time to get your own website? I'm guessing it's a great tool to show you're a real person. Yeah, make sure well, the answer to that is you don't need a website until you actually have pro quality demos, period. Because without those, you can't do any direct marketing. So you're kind of at that level, like I said, that minor league level of the, Fiverr and Upwork. So you don't need a website until you have pro demos. All right, guys, I'm going to get to work. I will see you all tomorrow where we will talk about CRM and whether or not you need one. And I'll give you the quick answer is no, you don't, but they sure are nice. And we'll get into more of that tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Kino says link for your website, MikeHathcote.com. Check it out. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Break a lip.